All right, piss and vinegar day. Fuck, what day is it? 8 or 9? I actually don't remember. Probably 9, but maybe 8. Accessory day. This is my last training session of the week. Sunday, the Lord's Day, and then I get back into back day tomorrow. And today I'm doing something a little different with the shrugs. I'm mixing things up a bit. I'm doing some really pretty heavy power shrugs, and then I'm just stripping off doing drop sets. And I'm doing a few other experiments today, but I'll just talk about the shrugs for now. So I start with controlled but uh, relatively powerful power shrugs in order to get a massive kind of stretch in the muscle at the bottom. So I'm not really caring about the contraction at the top. I'm just trying to get as much weight up as possible so that on the way down it really pulls down the traps, because the traps grow from weighted stretch the most, and my traps don't grow in general very much. So this is what I'm doing. And then I didn't get many reps, and I can't really hit absolute failure because otherwise you just have to keep cheating and cheating more. So yeah, just do a few, get some good stretch on the traps, and then I drop from 170 down to 140 to do some more strict type shrugs. And yeah, I'm running the plates here. I do like 4 or 5 drop sets here because my traps are very, very stubborn. So unlike other movements where I only need 1 or 2 drop sets, these ones I need a lot of shit. I need a lot of kind of time and attention to really feel my traps stimulated. And I'm still yet to be able to truly grow my traps. So yeah, now I'm doing more strict 140 kilo shrugs. And with traps, you can get them as strong as you want. You can do as much work with them as possible. But if you don't have good insertions on the traps, there's not much you can do. My traps don't insert very well. They insert really low down on the neck. So no matter how big they get, if the insertion's not there, you don't really get that big kind of upside down M shape of sorts off your neck. But regardless, I'm still training them as hard as I can because I want big traps. They are one of the most important muscles on the male physique. I'd say they're up there with chest and biceps, especially because when you're standing there and just chilling and you're not flexing or anything, someone's just hanging out, having a conversation with you. The first thing people see is your traps in your neck. When people have a conversation with you, they're not looking, oh yeah, that dude's got big quads, or yeah, he's got nice abs behind that shirt that I can't see. No, they're looking at your neck and they're looking at your traps, and the other muscle that's typically exposed is the forearms. Unless you're a gym junkie like me and you wear, slim fit t-shirts that show off the guns. But yeah, traps super important, so I really give them my all. Still doing drop sets. Then I go down to 60 kilo, do some more strict weight. And I found with shrugs, the weighted stretch being super important. And anecdotally, if you look at all the best traps ever built, it's through the weighted stretch of the movement. Strong men have some of the best traps because they do farmers walks, and farmers walks has no contraction. It's just a static. But that massive stretch, these dudes are walking with like 400 kilo frames. They have some of the biggest. They have bigger traps than bodybuilders half the time. Look at Bill Kazmaier. He had some of the greatest traps of all time. Or Johnny Jackson, or yeah, I think it was Johnny Jackson. I think that's his name. One of the strongest bodybuilders of all time. He had the biggest traps of all time. Johnny Jackson just had fucking huge traps, and he attributed that to when he was a 15, 16-year-old. He would go into the gym and he would load up the fucking barbell with like 7 plates and just try and do the nastiest power shrug with the worst form ever, and then he, lo and behold, goes on to have the best traps of all time. Now, part of that, obviously, is genetics. But secondly, it's genetics plus some secret that he stumbled upon. And you have guys like Alpha Destiny and Eric Bugenhagens who all developed amazing natural traps from doing rack pulls and power shrugs. So, Don't want to hear any of this bullshit about strict shrugs. I do strict shrugs at the end. I do these shrugs with the 60 kilos and then with the plates. When I start, I get that mad fucking stretch at the bottom. So I get the best of both worlds, really. And now I'm doing the Dorian Yates variation of a shrug. My group's giving out at this point. Because even with straps, I mean, they give out. So I'm doing the Dorian Yates variation where you kind of trying to get the lower traps a little bit too by retracting the scapula. Can't do this with a barbell, so you need dumbbells to do it with, but my dumbbells are just too awkward and fat because they're adjustable ones, so I just use these plates. And 20 kilo plates is fuck all weight, but by the end of that drop set, I was really feeling it. Anyway, I move on to neck curls. I dropped the weight today because I feel like I keep dropping the weight more and more, and I feel like every single time I drop the weight, I'm still getting the same amount of reps. And the only way that could be, there's only two options here. I'm getting weaker, which I'm not, or I'm using more arms than I thought I was using. So last session I used 15 kilos and I got 7 reps. This session I'm using 10 kilos and I only get 7 reps. So I think at the end of the day, people are using a lot more arm drive on these than they think they are. Like as I said last accessory day, I used to do 2 20 kilo plates and get like 20 reps, but I was probably using a shit ton of arms. Now granted, I was 20 kilos heavier at the time. I was much stronger, but regardless, I was most definitely using too much arms, and I was last session too. So even with this 10 kilo plate, I feel like I was using no arms at all, just simply gripping it, and I got seven reps. And then I just do a drop set of just body weight. Can barely get my own body weight up or my head weight up. Now I have a big fucking head to be fair, but yeah, after that 5 second negative with the 10 kilo plates, I can barely raise my head. And then when I do my sit up, I I can't fucking get up. Like my neck stays in place. And then I'm trying a new movement today for the side of the neck. I usually use the plates, but it was kind of feeling awkward. Didn't feel like the right contraction. The resistance curve kind of sucked. So I tried a few different things today, and it came up with this. And so far, I'm not sure. I'll have to tweak it a little bit. I might do it laying down or seated or something. It still felt pretty good. I don't know if it was better than the plates per se, but there's still work to be done here. I could figure out how to optimize this. Ideally, I'd have a better neck harness, but I'll probably invest in a iron neck or something, some good harness that permits this kind of movement without me having to hold the strap on the side of my chin. But overall, I could see this having better potential than the plates if I can kind of optimize it somehow. It also kind of trains your obliques, but it is a little bit awkward trying to hold that weight and then stabilize with your core. But the resistance curve definitely feels better. It does look goofy as shit though. I'm glad that I have my own home gym because I remember training neck at the gym. I mean, I don't really give a shit about what people think, but I could imagine what it's like for some people. Maybe, you're like a 16-year-old and you only just started lifting out weights and you're skinny and you want to get this big juicy neck, but you have like roided dudes with like huge deltoids but no neck looking at you going, "What the fuck's that cunt doing?" It is a goofy looking movement, these neck movements, but don't feel too bad. If you're in the gym, you're training your neck and people are looking at you going, "What the fuck is this guy doing?" Well, they're missing out. I've seen so many examples of gearheads who have, the biggest traps, the biggest delts, the biggest rhomboids, all these kind of upper back muscles, and yet they have no fucking neck because they don't train their neck. So yeah, I think neck training is super important. And as I said, like the traps, it's even more visible than the traps when you're just conversating with someone or just going about your business. So train your neck injury in order to prevent neck injuries, concussions, and generally have better aesthetics and facial aesthetics. Now I'm doing calf raises. I get a cramp here, which this hasn't happened in a very long time. I haven't had a cramp in a very long time because my diet is really optimized. So I don't know where this came from. Maybe I was just dehydrated today, but it was an awkward fucking position to get a cramp in with 100 kilos on my back trying to do calf raises. So yeah, cramping up, and now I'm panicking. I put it back, and then I don't continue with that set. I just rested for about 3-4 minutes, and then I ended up just doing some unilateral body weight calf raises, as you can see here, because I didn't want to risk getting another cramp or a worse cramp with that weight on my back. So I just resorted to this. And at the end of the day, my calves are so genetic, and I have some of the worst calf genetics. So, I mean, skipping a day of carbs or a optimal day of carbs isn't really that big a deal. And ideally, and this isn't really ideal calf work anyway because I don't have a seated calf raise machine, which is the best way to train your calves. And I like these because you can force rep them. I can lift my body weight up when I'm starting to fail. Whereas with those safety squat bar calf raises, I can't really force rep. I mean, I can pull myself up a little bit, but you don't really get extra reps from it. It's just the leverages don't work. So these are cool because then yeah, you can see I can lift myself up and get some force negatives, get a bit more stretch and contraction. And I switch legs. Oh, and the other experiment I was doing today, I forgot to mention, is I wasn't counting reps today. So what I'm going to start doing, because now I'm recording the series, is I can just go back on my videos while I'm editing them and count my reps after the fact to see my progressions. Because I find when I have to count my reps in my workouts, I can't focus on the contraction. I can't focus on being intense because I'm thinking, okay, one, two, three, and then on top of that, I'm thinking, how long are my negatives? I'll say I'm doing a negative bicep curl. I go one, two, three, or whatever. Like I'm counting my reps and I'm counting my negatives, and sometimes I'm counting my eccentrics and concentrics. So I find it takes away from the sets. I felt better stimulus today. I felt my muscles working better because I could just focus on just giving my all and thinking about the contractions. So now I'm just going to stop counting my reps and I'm just going to simply start cross-referencing after the fact and writing down my programs after watching the video. And this is a massive benefit, man. I really felt a different workout today doing this. And I would suggest this to people that don't even want to do a YouTube series. Like, just record your workouts, and that way, for one, you'll see if you have any form problems. And then two, you can go, oh, cool, that was 8 reps, rather than counting the reps out and not getting optimal contraction. And then now I'm doing my sit-ups. I fucked this up. I had a bit of a headache and I was just distracted today, so I wasn't doing my 3 second negatives from the start. But yeah, with these sit-ups, you want to do slower negatives because they're very fast rep sit-ups. You're just up and down, bang, bang. They're real quick. So you want to slow the negatives down. You'll feel the contraction of the abs way, way better. It's fucking brutally painful, especially if you don't have a decline bench for sit-ups like I don't. This will really help you actually fully activate your abs when you don't have a lot of stuff to train abs with. And unfortunately, with these plates, I can't really put them on my chest because then I can't sit all the way up. So I have to kind of lift them up, which makes it easier at the top. So next session, I'm going to figure a way around that. And then I do a drop set. I do a full rep and then a half rep. And this makes it pretty brutal too. And I get to the point where I just simply can't sit back up. And that's it. That's a set to failure. Train your abs to failure. Don't leave reps in reserve. It's not just for all your compound lifts and your fancy lifts like biceps. Now I'm doing force reps too, so my abs were crushed after this. Then I do my leg raises. If you don't have a cable machine to do leg raises with, I would highly suggest getting one because it takes, if you are relatively lean and you're trying to do leg raises without a cable machine or weight on your legs, you're going to get like 20, 30, 40 reps. So in order to keep progression consistent and not having to do these like massive amount of rep ranges, it's best to figure out a way to add resistance to your legs. And also, when you add resistance to your legs, it allows you to train your hip flexors, which are super important. People don't train their hip flexors enough. And if you're interested in sprinting or running and increasing your sprinting times, training your hip flexors is super, super paramount. So get some ankle straps, get a cable machine, and do leg raises this way. Do not do body weight leg raises. You can't really take them to failure. And now I'm just fucking around trying to get the. This is the one downside though, is trying to get the cables off and on. It's a bit fussy, but it's okay. So now that I've done this set to failure with 20 kilos added to my legs, now I can do leg raises. But even now, man, I could probably still get like 20 or 30 of these fuckers. So I ended up just start doing butterfly kicks instead because I would have just been sitting there for like a minute and a half, 2 minutes doing redundant fucking reps. And I can't get up now. I had to I had to shift over to my side in order to get up because my abs were just that fucking fried. My dog's getting pretty jacked actually. You see the rhomboids, see the rear delts. I've been playing heaps of tug of war with him. He's gonna turn into a Great Dane, I reckon. Maybe I'll feed him some Anavar. Nah, nah, he's all natural like me, like his dad. All right, on to side teapots. That's what they're called, I think. Yeah, teapots. The reason you call them teapots is because you want to hold on to the oblique that you're contracting, which just happens to make you look like a teapot. And yeah, these take these to failure. Slightly bend the spine with these because that way you'll be able to contract your abs a little bit more efficiently. If you do them straight side to side, you won't be able to go as deep, and you also won't be able to contract your obliques as efficiently. So slightly bend, round the upper back. I know. Oh, don't round the upper back. You'll hurt your back, dude. If you hurt your back with 35 kilo fucking side extensions, then you should probably get your lower back stronger because that's pathetic. So if you have a relatively healthy, strong lower back, you should round the lower back a little bit for these, and then do side to side rather than just straight on. And these are killer for the obliques. And I know a lot of people don't train obliques because oh, make my waist bigger, but the reality is the obliques aren't gonna grow like 4 inches wide. You might like add a centimeter to the width of your physique, but then at the same time, the obliques popping out near the hips will then make your waist look smaller in between the rib cage and ab insertion. So I think actually training your obliques makes your waist look better because it tones everything up. Anyway, that's it for my accessory day. See you guys tomorrow for more piss and vinegar. Bye bye.